I came to know Britney Spears in 1991 at a dance competition in Lafayette, Louisiana. Her parents approached me after, and they were interested in finding a studio for Britney to study dance intensively. The first day I ever met Britney, she says, I want to be a star. I want to be like Madonna. And I said, you're going to be one, honey.
Every minute she was busting her little butt, you know, just to try to perfect every move that she was doing at that moment.
Even at 8, she had the moves.
You could just tell that she had so much energy and drive and that she was blessed with such a talent.
They drove far for dancing school. It was 90 miles one way, and she came 3 days a week. They struggled. They paid when they could, but when it came to Britney and her talent, they always managed to find a way.
There was a point in our life where we really went through a terrible financial struggle. Robbing from Peter to pay Paul a lot. I was late on things, you know, I'll be the first to admit. I mean, I just tried to do the best that I could do.
My mom and I were looking for a dance partner to do different competitions and performances around Louisiana. I showed up at gymnastics one day, and she was there with her family.
Now, she was already in the gym 5 nights a week. And now this is like at 8 years old. I mean, that's drive.
Britney was a very good gymnast. She was very flexible, very powerful. She was very talented. She went to Bella Corolla and for a week and was kind of looking at that option.
Britney Spears, she was a lovely little girl from Louisiana. She was one of the ones who excelled as dancing and as performing. I remember her little face, that lovely little blonde head, the one who was most of the time smiling. And she was cutie, just cutie. I mean playing cutie.
When you're doing gym to, you know, at that level, it's like 5, 6 days a week. It just got to be way too much for her. I said, Britney, you act like you're not happy anymore. I said, what's the matter? And she started crying. Oh, I went berserk. I said, oh my gosh, you know, she's under too much stress, you know.
It just ended up where it wasn't the avenue she wanted to pursue. And I said, what else do you do? Is there anything else you do? And she said, well, I sing a little bit. And I said, well, let me hear you sing. And
She says, oh, well, I can only sing with the radio.
so I took her to my car and I turned the radio on.
And she just started belting out.
And I said, my goodness. I said, little girl, you don't need to dance, you need to sing.
Gigi started telling me, do something with that kid of yours. You know, she's amazing.
Lynn was really excited. Immediately, she was on the phone to me and said, can you believe? Do you think? And it kind of all started there.
Twice a year, I'd go out and have big, giant open calls, and I really was looking for kids that were sort of average, real, ordinary kids with extraordinary talent.
I called Lynn and I said, hey, you guys want to go audition for the Mickey Mouse Club? And she was like, sure, let's go.
We went, and there's probably 500 to 600 kids there.
The main requirement for the Mickey Mouse Club was you had to be 10, and I'll never forget saying, what's your name? Britney Spears. And where are you from? Canton, Louisiana. And how old are you? 9. You know, it's like, it was, she wanted to get in the room, and I was like, okay, whatever.
We sat there holding hands, praying the whole time the girls were in the audition room.
And then they finally narrowed it down to 6 people, and they asked you to sing, but you had to sing a cappella. That was not my strong suit, but obviously it was hers.
I never in my life had seen anything like that as far as a child with so much drive and such an innocence and so much talent as far as her singing and her dancing. I couldn't believe this child was 9.
And they kept them to the very end, and then they came out and they said, you know, they're really young. And they said, come back next year.
I did not want to let her get away because I knew it was a 1 out of a million kid. called and said, you know, Britney's just itching to go to New York. Britney's just itching to do professional things. Do you know anyone? And I said, actually, I do. I know, you know, one of the best kids agents in New York City.
The best advice I probably ever got was from Mac Casella when he told us to connect in New York with Nancy Carson, the agent.
They contacted me with a letter, and they sent me a lot of videotape of her.
Shine on, of the soul.
Normally, I turn something like that on in my VCR, and I watch a little bit of it, and I get a sense of the child, and I turn it off. I couldn't turn it off.
Had no love and sense, God knows what.
I called them, and I said I would love to meet with her. And they said, well, you know, we're down here in Louisiana. It's going to be hard, but we'll do it.
We went to meet Nancy, and Jamie Lynn was only 6 weeks old. That was tough. Shine on, harvest moon. Come on and shine.
From the moment I met Britney, I knew she had the potential to be a star. I felt like, although she sang well, she wasn't singing correctly. She wanted to do Broadway, so I said, you've got to get to voice lessons. I sent her to a man named Robert Marks, who is a vocal coach.
Britney and her mom and Nancy wanted me to work on audition material, kind of getting her ready for the New York audition scene.
I generally suggest that the kids go to Broadway dance. It's one of the schools where the people from Broadway shows study.
She was like 10 or 11 years old, bright-eyed and all sparkly and ready. And she was very polite. I would go over and correct her, and she'd go, yes, sir. Oh, that was very good. Thank you, sir.
She acted like a little grown-up. She knew what she wanted. She came in. She was a professional. Her tape was queued up. She had her music. She knew where she was going.
They would be in the city working or whatever, or taking a vocal class and getting all that done, and then dash home, and then maybe get back to Louisiana, and all of a sudden get a call to so-and-so, and then they're back again.
They were in New York a lot. They were in and out of the city quite a bit.
It was hard because they lived on a tiny budget. They had enough tenacity, I think, just to see it through.
That's really hard to do, but they did it.
I tell the kids, you know, get your training. This is your craft. Get your craft together. Because when opportunity knocks, you got to be ready. And she was ready.
Star Search, to us from Louisiana, is a big thing.
That was probably the first major thing we thought that she had ever done.
The whole Star Search thing was such a big deal to her. She'd always dreamed of it.
From Kentwood, Louisiana, Star Search welcomes 10-year-old Britney Spears.
I was like, that's my friend. That's my friend. She's on TV.
They say I'm crazy, got no sense, but I don't care.
And it was like everybody in town had their TVs on.
I don't care what they may think of me.
I was looking for, you know, the competition. I was sizing up, and I knew it was either going to be Britney or this other child that I was competing against. Both of them were equally hateable.
Let's see what the judges have to say. All right, champion Tanya Burno receives 3 1/4 stars. Her challenger Britney Spears receives 3 3/4 stars. Britney Spears, good luck.
And when she won, it was just like, I grew up with her. I know her. Oh, my gosh.
There's nobody better than Britney. Nobody can beat her.
Congratulations. How do you feel?
I feel wonderful.
All right, we'll see you next week. You're on your way.
When Britney won the first show, she was very excited. She had gone there to win with that little winning drive that she had. They said to the parents, we're going to tape the next show at 4 o'clock the same day.
Our current champion is going to win number 2. Here is 10-year-old Britney Spears.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine.
She's this little girl that put out a voice of like an 18-year-old.
She's a force of nature. the way that girl handles a microphone and handles a stage. And it was obvious that she was damn good.
One of these people will return next year as our champion. Either Britney Spears, who receives 3 3/4 stars.
I was like, she did it again, she did it again.
Or challenger Marty Thomas, who receives 4 stars.
And then when she didn't win, I just was kind of like, oh my gosh.
We've watched the wrong channel. This cannot be happening.
We were disappointed. You know, we thought she was better than the little guy.
Now, you know, no offense to him, but she went out there and she did her best. And she lost. It wasn't fair.
I felt bad, and I walked over to her. She was curled up and crying on the couch, and she's upset that she lost. I'm like, we're sorry, you know, you were good and everything. And she kind of didn't say anything. She looked up and was just upset and just cried.
It hurt, because she really wanted to win.
Britney's the type of person to take a lick and go with it. You know, I think it just made her stronger, a lot stronger.
You don't give up when you hit your first little bump in the road.
Coming up, Britney and her mom struggle to keep up with the crazy pace of the Big Apple.
In New York, you move or you're run over, you know.
Then, mom and daughter leave a golden opportunity behind.
On Christmas Eve, they quit and they headed home, which, you know, I thought was crazy.
And later,
we'd like to present you and your family with a Britney Spears Fan Club t-shirt.
Britney packs her bags for the wonderful world of Disney.
It was a big deal just to make it that far. It was like getting to the Olympics.